This is Why Am I Nervous is Alphabetic Goals. I'm Cameron James. Joining me today, as always, from the beginning, is just Matt, who's currently looking to see if I've played a game I hopefully will be playing this week before next week, because next week, the king of video games gets re-reckoned. It comes out to reclaim its throne as the greatest video game of all time. It did not get a 10 out of 10 on IGN, so it did not get to the competition. But if it did, Kingdom of Amalur would have indeed been crowned the greatest masterpiece of all time. I'm going to stop talking now.
Yeah. Are you sure it's coming? I thought it got pushed back, but it got pushed back from like August to September, right? Not like, and then they push it back like another week. Like, are you definitely sure it's coming out next week?
Yeah, it should be.
Or this week?
Why am I on my phone when I have a fucking?
Yeah, you have a laptop right there that you can check.
I thought it was Kingdom of Amalur Re-Reckoning. It should be coming out the 8th. The 8th, September 8th.
All right. Because I knew it got pushed back, but I thought it got like pushed back and then pushed back by like 2 more weeks after that first pushback.
That means it's coming out on Tuesday. Bah, 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 bah.
Well, then I can't give you a game if it's coming out on fucking Tuesday and you're getting it.
No, you can't. You can't. No, you can't give me a game because most likely we've both agreed this game is going to get terrible reviews. I'm going to come on this. I'm going to come here next week and be like, "Fuck this.
This was the worst. This was the worst decision ever."
Yeah. So, I guess September 8th. So, but I'm not. I indeed did not pre-order it. I am waiting for reviews with all due respect. Because,
well, you can't pre-order it. You can do it physically, but you can't do it digitally. It's not on the marketplace. I don't think.
Really?
Yeah, I'm going to double check my notes on that because I feel like I'm maybe lying, but I haven't seen it in the coming soon section on the PSN.
I mean, not for nothing. I'm looking at screenshots now of the original game, and
it's probably garbage.
Yeah.
Well, you got to remember, this was made by a studio that was owned by like an ex-pro baseballer.
Yeah. Yes. I forget who, but
and then when that studio went belly up, they were like the game concept, and the IP of Kingdoms of Amalur was owned by like the state of Rhode Island for like 5+ years.
Developed by Big Huge Games in 3/8 Studio.
Yeah,
which is weird because Todd McFarlane actually worked on this game.
Okay, I don't care much for Todd McFarlane.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like he's so up his own ass.
I mean, the Spawn cartoon that's on HBO right now it's pretty violent, but it's not bad. I mean, he like.
Well, that's actually airing now. I thought that was in development.
It's the old one from like the 90s, like 98.
Oh, because I know there's a new thing they're trying to do. I think.
Are they? Yeah. I mean, the Spawn one's pretty good from before, but he definitely he like introduces like each episode like those old fucking like remember when Dean Cain used to do like
for Lois and Clark? No, not Lois and Clark.
It was the mystery show. Believe it or not.
I was gonna say I was like Unsolved Mysteries, and I was like,
yeah,
no, that was
too.
Well, did he do that version?
No.
Was the other version?
No, but just like in general, like.
Okay, yeah.
Like there's like the intro is like, oh, what happened to whatever. Fucking so stupid.
I don't know. Todd McFarlane's so up his own ass because he's like, I made Spawn. I'm the greatest. I invented the greatest character ever. Look at all these figures I sell. Granted, the McFarlane toys are always pretty good quality compared to a lot of other brands, but he can be like up so far up his own ass with how cool he thinks he is.
Yeah, his toys are good, and he sold out that Grim Knight already, which I'm pissed off about, but whatever.
Well, there's a lot of hype surrounding that one.
Yeah. So you played and I finished Oxenfree.
Yeah.
We talked about it last week as the game I was supposed to be playing. You told me it was going to take me 15 to 20 hours. It took me 4.
maybe to platinum it. Maybe I should have rephrased that. Like if you're trying to get everything and get all the different trophies, like all the trophies for it, it requires, I think, like at least 2 playthroughs. So
we're gonna talk about it for a little bit. We're probably gonna spoil this. Yeah. So if you want to jump ahead for like 10 minutes? Go ahead. Jump. But I actually surprisingly really liked it. I thought it was really good. I thought it was clever. It's definitely not a game that you do anything except literally pick dialogue options. There's a weird lag right now, feedback, but I don't know what that is. But anyway, I was surprised by the first time the time loop happens. I was not expecting that. And I was like, wait, I like jumped for a second. I was like, what the fuck? I was like, what the hell is that? And Steph's like,
Yeah.
What are you playing? I'm like, I don't know what I'm playing at all. And then like the time it happened again, I was like, why does this keep fucking looping?
Yeah,
And
it's like an old VHS tape rewinding. It's like it scratches, and you're like, wait, huh?
But only she notices it. The girl's name is Alex. Right?
Yeah, yeah.
I actually took notes. Like I actually do this for a career based on
With your talking points.
Yeah, just you know what I did know. So pretty much the story, so everyone knows, it's about 5 kids, 5 friends. One of them, I guess you can say, it's not really a friend. And they go to an island, and I don't. They go to this island. I kind of got lost about this. They just go there to hang out for the night, or did they go there to explore the caves?
So they went there to like just do like a bonfire kind of friends hangout, but then of course like they're talking about all like the spooky stories about the island, and like that it's not like that there are people talk about tall tales about weird shit happening, and then they I think they do mention, because you got to remember, for me it's been quite a few years now since I played it, but like they talk about like there's like a cave and there's some weird shit, and then of course that cave is where the weird shit starts happening in the game, and then it just like escalates and gets weirder and fucking weirder the whole way you go through that game.
Because there's a woman that they talk about early on. They're like, oh yeah, she still lives on the island.
Mm-hmm.
But you actually never meet her. Obviously, she's dead. She died like a couple of days before, I think they said, or like a week or two before, before you actually get there. And a couple of things I thought was kind of weird was, one, they never touch base, unless I miss this. Remember, you know how when you first get to the island, there's a car, and they actually say like, "Oh, why is there a car here?"
Mm-hmm.
They never explain why the car's there.
I don't think so. I mean, there's like the old military base that's on the island, so it's like theoretically you can ferry cars over there, but they might just be like, "Wait, what?" Like, you guess when you go to an island like that, you're not expecting to see a car. Like, you're expecting it to just be like foot traffic on a lot of, because it's not a huge island in that game.
No.
It's just it's almost like a nature park kind of island, with like the old military base on there, and then that lady's house, and then
Margaret
a couple of other things. There's like and then there's like a small little, almost like there's like that portion of it where it's like a sort of little town, but it's almost just like the tourist center aspect of it where you're walking through. So I mean, there could be a car, but there's really no need for it to be. So
that's that. So and pretty much, if is there weapons in the game? No, you get information from like a tape recorder thing. You tune it to different radios.
Frequencies,
radio frequencies, and you find a bigger one in the town. Actually, you find the one that gets you to radio frequency. I think it's like 50 to 150. Because at first you can only start minimally. You can't open certain doors. There was a writing on the wall too. I noticed it said, I think it said "save the man, but not the dog." It was like a script that was written in the cave, and I was like, oh, maybe this is something important. They never touched base on that either. So I guess if I was to gripe about the game, like there's a lot of these like weird little things, but they never really talk about, and I don't know why.
Did you read a lot of like the documents and listen to a lot of like any of the audio logs?
Well, so the audio log is the one that you get from the rocks on the ground.
Yeah.
I didn't pick up the memo that there was these rocks on the ground, and until I had like my recorder out, and I just happened to be walking, and it like went like blue, and I was like, what? And and then like it went to frequency, and I saw the rock light up. I was like, these are these fucking rocks that they keep talking about. So pretty much the story is that there was a submarine, right? It was a submarine.
Yeah.
Shit.
Military submarine.
And it pretty much it blows up by a nuclear, I guess, reactor explodes.
Well, because lots of typically, or at least, just from my knowledge of, like military submarines, all military, they call it like nuclear submarines, like they run on like nuclear power. So yes, it basically like their engine, their power source went critical, and the sub blew up. And then of course, like
it opens up a rift. It opens up like a
fucking
tear.
Nuclear bomb. Yeah, it tears open like the fabric of reality to like another dimension, basically.
And pretty much what happens is on this island, your friends are getting possessed by the ghosts of this,
like the crew.
Yes, and it's weird because, like,
the USS Kanaloa, I think is the name of it, right? Yeah.
I see. I didn't really like throughout the entire time. Like when I started finding out more information about the crew and how they died, I was like, okay, these ghosts aren't ghosts to scare you. They're ghosts because they want to come back to fucking
Right. And it is the USS Kanaloa. Yeah, they're not your typical ghosts that are just like stuck somewhere and they're haunting a place because they don't know they're dead. They know they're dead. They're in a place that they don't want to be, and they've been there for like, I guess because where they are, time like doesn't exist like as we know it. So they're getting angry. Like it's like something that's trying to claw its way back into its home, but they can't really come back. Like they could only come back by possessing people, I think. Like that's the only real way they can come back.
I actually as I was watching, like not watching, but playing through the game, I was like, this would be a really clever TV show.
Yeah.
Like it had all the beats of a really good TV show. Not a movie. I wouldn't have done it as a movie. I think it would be a little too, I think you would have crammed a little too much in. But I think as a TV show, it actually would have been really, really, really good. Because, again, you learn that this island, which is actually kind of sophisticated, is different frequencies open up different doors on the island. Like you can find Adler's gate right away, but you can't get into it because you don't know the frequency is off higher than what your little radio has at the time. So I thought that was really, really cool how they did it that way. There was a couple of times too, and like I was like, I'd be walking and like the time loop would hit, and I was like, God damn it! And like I would like literally say to myself, was that chair there last time, or did they add that to the loop?
There's a lot of things that are there and then not there, and there's plenty of things that just show up. Yeah.
And
subtle differences.
What the game I thought did really, really well, and I give them a lot of credit for, and I think a lot of games should invest in this idea, is like if you weren't going the way the game wanted you to go, the time loop just kept going. It was like, okay, you obviously nothing's happening. You keep going back to the beginning. Like you shouldn't go this way. Go look at one of the other, 4 roads. And I'm like, I said to myself, like, why do games not do this? Like, because sometimes you're like, oh, can I go there? And you jump, you jump, and then you can't grab on anything, and then the game's like, oh, you died, and then it restarts you. Like, why not just pull you back? And some games have done that, and just be like, oh, here you go. Like, obviously, you can't go this way. It keeps pulling. Kind of like a way of saying, like, okay, you're not dead, but this isn't the way you're supposed to go.
Yeah, we're trying to like casually guide you in the right direction without making it. I mean, I think this one makes it a little bit more obvious. It just physically does not allow you to do what you want to try to do. Real quick, though, I want to just throw this in. This is from 2016. I don't know how likely it is that it is still happening, but from 2016, the developer of this studio was actually working with Robert Kirkman to turn this into like a movie.
This was developed by Skybound. They were involved with it. I looked at
So Skybound, I mean, I don't know if that's still happening, but like this could fit into a nice like hour and a half, 2-hour movie pretty comfortably.
See, I just said literally 2 minutes before you just said that it wouldn't.
Really? Oh, sorry. I was looking at the article.
You were looking. No, you were reading something. That's why I literally said I don't think it would work as a movie. I think it would crunch too much in because those
or an 8 to 10 episode series with an hour
on Netflix.
Yeah, that's the only other way that I could see it.
Or it'd be really cool if they did this kind of like a anthology thing where like this maybe was like the first anthology then, because this is obviously a really cool idea and they should make more games like this. And I think if you do like anthology seasons, like, okay, this is Oxenfree, the next one is like whatever the fuck they call it, and go on that route, I think it'd be really, really cool. Because I think that the tapes in this game, like the little letters that you find, they do add a lot to the story. I don't think you'd be able to get all that across as detailed as you could in a movie. Unless they just they just find a piece of paper and like, oh, like, because then you have like the other tape recorders that you have to speed up, and I don't really know what they actually do. They kind of like stop the tear. You know, when you speed it's like I don't know. It's like pressing the off button for them. Like they're starting to create more of their way in, and then you're pressing a thing, and it's like pushing them back. Like it's stalling them out from coming in. Like that's how they're communicating and they're connecting with our plane is through the radio frequencies. Yeah. And it was interesting too, was at the end of the game is that there's parts in the game where you talk to yourself and then they show the same things.
That cat, I hear Stuck's cat. It's like, the cat wants to be part of the story.
I know. No.
It wants to yell at me for being an idiot and not realizing that you said it would have been a terrible idea for a movie. That's what it's doing. It's like, you should have been paying attention.
He's literally sitting right over there crying. I don't know what he's doing. Then you re-answer like the questions that you kind of asked for yourself.
Yeah.
And I was like, how did I answer this last time? Like, I was trying to figure out how I answered it last time. And there is 3 or 4 endings to this game.
Yes, the nicest ending to the game is probably the craziest, most time manipulation one.
So the ending that I got was Carissa hates you.
Okay.
And what's your friend's name?
Ren.
So Ren ends up being with Nona.
Yep.
And then you and your brother Jonas just go off. But your stepbrother, because your real brother, now the story of this game too, not spoiler, your real brother's dead.
Right.
I didn't manipulate the time to bring him back to where none of this happens.
Right. So what happens is, so like that's like the true like gold trophy ending of the game is where you have to do all these different very specific things to make it happen. And like the ending of the game is if I'm trying to like remember this as best I can, like, your brother's not dead. He's completely alive. You meet all these people, but you're like, there's like a convenience store that you're all like hanging out in. And then like, I think you're going to the island, but like you go to the island and it's just a normal night because the sub never exploded. None of that shit ever happened. So it's just like, you just go to the island and it's like a normal kind of just, that's it. But I could be misremembering that. But the best ending is where like everybody is all on good terms. Your brother's alive.
Clarissa
I don't think
him?
Jonas is there. Yeah. I don't think Jonas is there because he would never have come into your life because because I think it's like after your brother died, your parents got all pissed and then got divorced or whatever, and then so on and so forth. But that's like the true, like the really good ending to the game is just making sure like everything is fixed, everybody's on good terms, and your brother's not dead.
So you would technically have to play this game. You could honestly, I didn't get that ending. Obviously, I got the one where Chris doesn't like you and he's still dead or whatnot, which isn't a bad ending by any means. It's not like a sad one.
Yeah.
Because there is one I think too where like nobody lives or some weird shit, but one of the trophies is you have to play the whole game and not talk.
Yeah, you literally just walk around. Yeah, you don't answer any questions. You don't crack any jokes. You don't do anything.
And obviously, you're not going to get the good ending doing that. So I would have to play this game 3 more times in order to get the platinum. But I probably wouldn't. And this might be a game where I would go back to if it was like if I have off from work and if it's snowing out and I'm like, what, let me just have a cup of coffee and fucking sit here and play this game with Steph or whatever the hell it is for the time being.
Yeah.
So.
Well, you said she's going to play it, so.
She is. I'm not going to tell her anything. Because she was kind of watching. She's like, what's happening? I was like, shut up and just play the damn game.
Yeah, just no. Well, that's why you don't want to spoil anything. That's why I didn't want to say anything to you last week. You're like, what kind of game is it? And then I remember when you first started playing, you texted me like, this game's weird. I'm like, bitch, you don't even know the half.
I know.
This game's about to get, weird.
I text you, it was weird. The scene when Clarissa's standing on the ledge and jumps off. Yeah. And I was like, what the fuck? And then like I ran down there and she wasn't there and I was like, yo. Yeah. Okay. And then she's just like in the house and she's like, I don't know how I got here. And I'm like, obviously, bitch, you got possessed by something or you got like traveled, whatever the hell it was.
That is actually, I'll say this, like I'll send you like a video of it later. That's I have a lot of, right now I don't have one on my PlayStation. I'm like looking at my TV. I have a lot of like dynamic themes for my PlayStation and my 2 favorite dynamic themes are the one for Firewatch, which is just really nice and peaceful. It's just like, it goes to like the time of the day. So it's like when the sun's up. When it's nighttime on the thing. My favorite one, though, is the Oxenfree one because it's cool because like you're just sitting on the island and you kind of like hear the radio transmissions. Mm-hmm. But then when you go up a level to where you're like looking at your friends list and whatever, if you look into the sky, you see the shapes of all the ghosts from like the submarine. Like, I'll send it to you. Cool. It's so it's kind of creepy, but I really like it.
My right now, my background is the freaking Walking Dead Saints and Sinners background. And it's just a guy hanging from a tree swinging. So I'm like, God damn it. What have you been playing?
You can now say I can finally talk about it. Yes, because I didn't want to talk about it so for reference, I just yesterday finally finished 100% platinumed the game Okami, which is a game that is like 15 years old. It was originally a PlayStation 2 game. Then they put it on the Wii. I don't think it was on the Wii U.
I think it was on GameCube.
It might have been an original. Check that too. Yeah, it might have been originally like a GameCube game. Then it was on PS2. It was definitely on the Wii. Then it was on PS3. And then they, at some point, like a year or so ago, released it, or 2 years ago, maybe released it on PS4. And then they switched. Yeah. So this game's been following me for like years. I've been a huge fan of it. Like I have a lot of art books on a shelf over here, and I can actually I can see the Okami one right there. I really like this game, but it's like anytime I ever got I beat it years ago on the PS2, and then I was going to play it again, and I could never seem to like get past one point in the game because then something else would always come out and I lose track of it, and then I would just delete it off my hard drive and be like, yeah, it's no big deal. And then I finally said, no, I think I need to sit down and fucking grind this one out and then do it justice and get that platinum trophy. And I didn't want to talk about it because I felt like if I talked too much about it, something was going to come out and distract me. And then I was never going to do it.
This game too, I've never played it. I have seen it. It has scored beautifully on the charts. I mean,
it is across all generations. It's never anything less than like a 9 flat. Usually it's much higher than that. A lot of people give it like perfect scores.
Nintendo Power were dicks, and fuck you, Nintendo Power. You actually gave this a 7.5 on the Wii.
Well, it might have been because of the controls, because that's kind of especially for the painting part of it, like the brush techniques.
Eurogamer gave it a 10 on the Wii. Game Informer gave it a 9.5 on the Wii. GameSpot gave it a 9 on the Wii. IGN gave it a 9 on the Wii.
Well, maybe then, they were just being assholes. But no, the game, it really is. It is a work of art, honest to God. Like it's a very simple game.
Japanese folklore.
Yes, it's very, very Japanese folklore heavy. The whole game is like a cel-shaded moving painting, and like a lot of your abilities in the game are essentially like calligraphy brush techniques. It's very, very quirky, very weird game, but it's not super difficult in any way. The combat's very pretty much anybody can play it. Like you don't have to have a high level of skill to play this game. It's just for the platinum trophy. There's just a lot of shit you have to collect. And there are some missable things, but really though, I guess you could say like only one thing is truly missable, and it's just like an enemy that you need to identify, because once you leave that area, you can never go back. So it's like as long as you're paying attention to that one, everything else is still attainable, even like just before the end of the game. So just took a while. It took like almost 50 hours to platinum.
Damn, that's a long ass time, but congrats on number 60, my friend.
Number 60.
Number 60.
And now we'll be moving on to Darksiders Genesis.
Really?
Yeah, it's staring at me. I'll be playing that later. I still need to finish like Blood and Truth and stuff, but like, yeah.
I want to get Genesis, but I'm gonna wait for that probably to, at some point get it.
I'll let you know how it is. I'm sure. I heard it's fun.
I dived last night as I was laying in bed because I could not fucking sleep, and I was like, you know what? Let me check out this Nintendo, Switch Super NES thing that it has, like the emulator type deal.
Oh yeah, what do you have Nintendo Online?
Yeah, it's fun. I started playing Demon Crest.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay.
It's hard as fuck.
Yes, I got to I beat obviously the first boss, like that skeleton, whatever it is, dragon that you have to kill. And I was like, what the fuck? Sure. I couldn't figure out what I was doing. I was like, okay, got it figured out. I was like, hold on. Let me go into my mind here and go back to if I was 10 years trying to play a game. What happens? Okay.
Brain.
At first I was like, I gotta die. So I died, and I died. I was like, okay, don't have to die. So I had to kill the boss and do the first little level. It's fun. I mean, it's a cool old school, obviously 2D side scroller. It's kind of like a Ghouls and Ghosts type of vibe.
It's the same. It's that character Firebrand is from. He is from Ghouls and Ghosts. Yeah, it's same like universe. I guess
it's definitely more forgiving than Ghouls and Ghosts.
Ghouls and Ghosts is arguably like top 10 in the top 10 most difficult games probably ever created.
I think in Ghouls and Ghosts, I think in Ghouls and Ghosts, even when I was a kid, the furthest I've ever gotten in that game was maybe the third region of the map.
Yeah, I've never beaten it, even come close to beating it. At period, never will either.
Just because it's like not even enjoyable. Like okay, like
exactly
3 times you get 3 times, you're dead. It's over. Like what?
Yeah.
Like no,
yeah, that's what I talked about that with Vitali recently, and I was like, I was kind of talking to him about Cuphead and like my feelings towards it, and I said, this is just one of those games that harkens back to like when we were kids, and there was all those arcade games where they weren't difficult because they were genuinely difficult games. They just needed to be difficult, so you'd pump more quarters into the fucking machine. Yeah. That was it. Like you're just difficult to be fucking overly difficult.
Yeah, and there's some games on that the SNES Online that I'm like, why would you put this as your library? Like the library, I'll be honest, the library is not that great. Like you got like Super Mario All-Stars just got added, which I will be playing a lot.
When you look at the two things, because there's the two apps on the Switch, there's the NES one and then there's the Super NES one.
Correct.
When you look at it, you can only have access to those things when you're paying for Nintendo Online.
Which is like
when you look at which it's $20 a year. So for $20 a year, is it a great selection? No, but for $20, you've got quite a lot of games that you can play in there that you know you would have liked. Like you can go back to Super Mario World. You can go back to the original Zelda. You can play they have like tweaked versions of them too that have like weird little extras on them. Like you have a lot of shit that you can play for $20. So for $20 value, it's good. But do they need to add more? Lots and lots and lots of games. Yes.
It sucks. I genuinely do. And actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off on this comment because it actually ties into the thing we're going to talk about today. But
I was going to say, good.
I'm going to hold off on that comment. But Matt, if Kingdom of Amalur blows,
if it sucks,
that it does not,
sucks balls.
What am I playing?
So I'm going to throw you. I think I mentioned it to you before, and I don't think you've played it. It's very easy for me to just look at your trophy list and see what you played and what you haven't. I remember we were talking earlier, and I was telling you, I think I want you at some point to play Sleeping Dogs, but not yet, because that's a little bit longer of a game. Well, then I guess this other one is kind of a long game, but Sleeping Dogs isn't on sale. This one is right now. It's actually, there's a less than $15 Far Cry Primal.
Okay.
I want you to give it a chance. I want you to trust me.
Okay.
It is cavemen. There's no guns. You get spears and bows and shit like that. But trust me, when you can fully command a saber-toothed tiger to run into an encampment and kill everybody, it's fucking sweet. That game, I thought it was going to suck.
This is a game I will 100% I'll play because I wanted to play this for the longest time and I kept putting it off. And I was like, you know what? Maybe one day I'll have a reason to play it. Well, here's my reason.
And it's less than I was looking at the sale and I was like, oh shit, it's less than $10 right now.
I will literally pick up the second
Far Cry Primal. It's honestly, I remember picking that up, paying full price. And did I pay full price for it or did I get it for like a sale? And I was like, I don't know, man. I played 4 and I wasn't really crazy about 4 and I feel like this is going to suck. And I ended up liking it way more than 4. And to me, it was way better than 5. Like it was just, it's the last good one.
Anything can be better than freaking New Dawn.
Yeah. Well, I'm talking 5 in general, like the whole concept of 5. This one was a lot of fun. It was really cool. So,
they've been quiet on 6. They've been very, very quiet on 6.
Probably because they know they need to be smart and just keep their fucking mouths shut until it's basically going to come out and they're not just hyping the hell out of it and then it ends up being garbage.
Because, the thing that they can do, the smartest thing they can do with that game is don't put any supernatural shit in it.
Just make it straight up.
Like if Far Cry 5 was just you're in Montana, you were a fucking cop, and this obviously this Western type, run down.
You're just fighting rednecks.
Yeah. I didn't want to say it, but you said it.
No, okay.
You remember Redneck Rampage?
Yes, dude.
If this game was like that, where I was just running around with a machine gun, lighting people up from this cult, cool. The super, like the concept on paper, like someone must have been like, this is awesome content. And someone must have been drunk. It was like supernatural abilities. And then just like Mike dropped it and walked away. And someone was like, oh my God, let's just smoke some weed and fucking do this.
Well, that's why I think Far Cry 3 was as good as it was, because it was literally 95% just you fighting people on an island and trying not to get killed by the wildlife.
Yep.
And then there was the aspects of where you like take mushrooms, which makes sense that you would go on an acid trip, but there's nothing where you're like fighting like the daughter who's floating around like a god and she's a bullet sponge. Like it's nothing like that. Like you go on an acid trip and then you're back to normal. And it's like, okay, now let's go back to hunting or go killing these people. That's it.
Yeah, Sean's been playing Far Cry 3. I don't know if he still is. I know he was playing some sports games before.
That's my favorite one. I
agree with you on that. I think he was having I think if I remember him telling me this, don't quote me on this. I think he was saying he was getting annoyed where like he was constantly getting attacked by people. And I don't remember this game. I thought that was one of the games had more of this issue where like you'd walk 2 feet and then you just see like you get ambushed. Then you'd be like, fuck, kill everybody, walk 2 feet, then you get attacked like a boar. Like one of the games had like a weird thing where you couldn't walk further than like 5 feet without getting destroyed.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't really remember that in 3. Like obviously, as you're like if you're
5.
running through the woods and you're like driving, he's probably talking about 5 because anywhere you go in 5, like it's literally like every person that you encounter basically is a potential combatant. Like everybody wants to kill you in 5, but no, I don't remember. I don't remember that in 3. I remember getting attacked by more animals in 3 than fucking any of them. Like you're walking, you get attacked by a tiger. You walk too close to the water, you get hit by a crocodile.
Yeah, maybe that's what he's talking about. But I agree. 3 is the best. So, but I will be dipping into Far Cry Primal then this weekend. We will see.
Can't wait to see what you think.
What am I looking at? How long? 12 hours?
Oh no. Well, I mean, this one's actually, if I'm not mistaken, if I recall correctly, I have platinum on that one. It's a pretty easy one. It's just your typical like collect shit and just upgrade yourself and whatever. But I don't know. I'd say you got a decent length to it. As long as you're not doing.
I'll buy it anyway. I'll download just to have it because, like I said, Kingdom Realm was my first choice this week, depending how that scores. If not, because the only other thing that's coming out next is going to be Mafia, and I'm definitely going to wait to see how that scores. If that game gets anything above an 8, I'm in.
Yeah, I remember. Did I mention it last week? Because I always talk about ACG reviews on YouTube, and Carrick was doing like a preview of it recently. Like, because I guess they got like an old preview, like a beta build of it, where he said he's like, it's not. You can tell like this is an older build, but he was going over it. He's like, the sound is incredible, the look of it. You can tell it's like it's dated, but it looks really good for what they're doing in terms of remaster. He said he's actually very excited to see the final product of this game. So that's very encouraging, I'll say.
That's good news.
Yeah, especially from him. He's like, I got to be honest with you, I'm pretty excited to see what the final product of this will look like, and I will trust his review. If he says get it, I would probably end up getting it right away.
I mean, hell, Far Cry, or not Far Cry, what the hell is the game? Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is scoring fantastically.
Crushing it right now, dude. They're just killing it. Everybody loves it. And I'm not surprised by that, though, because it had the most promise of, like, remakes in this year. Like, it always looked good and it was appealing. And I don't think it's a full-priced game. I don't think it's $60.
I think it's $40.
Yeah, which is pretty reasonable. I mean, most people still would pay $60 for it, but I think it's $40.
Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2 is indeed GameStop. Here we go. You were going to charge me a whopping. It's free. $39.99.
Yeah. Okay. So that's pretty cool because those. I mean, I love Tony Hawk's Pro Skater too. So I mean, that'll be something I'll treat myself to at some point.
Yeah, this game to me screams Christmas. Something like my parents.
Yeah. Big time.
Parents might be like, "What do you want for Christmas?" You'd be like, "Tony Hawk Pro Skater 1 and 2."
Tony Hawk. Yeah.
I don't know, fucking Batman action figures. You know the deal. But once again, this is Why Am I Nerd, which is Alphabeted Gold, where you can follow us on Instagram, Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd. Listen to new episodes every Tuesday on YouTube or your favorite podcast service. So before we get into our actual topic we want to talk about, I want to really fit quickly, because again, we've talked about this before. We're not trying to be no damn news thing.
Yeah.
What do we think? What do you think? Because I know what I think about this Mario All-Star, 3D All-Star. Yes, I know we've texted about it, but I want to hear you. I want to hear you speak to me about this.
You got to clarify because there were a lot of things that were announced at that little 35th anniversary Mario Direct.
So just so everybody kind of knows, like they're remaking Mario 1, where it's like a Tetris type of battle where like you kill enemies, it goes in someone else's thing. It's like a weird Super Mario Brothers 1 35th anniversary battle royale.
It's a game and watch.
Thing.
It's a game and watch. I don't know if you're familiar with the concept of game and watch from years ago.
I remember.
That's what it is. It's a game and watch. That's basically what it is.
Which links up to the Switch somehow. I think they said it's weird. Mm-hmm. Then they're doing the Super Mario 3D Land and plus Bowser's Rage or
Fury. Bowser's Fury. They didn't say what that is yet though.
I'll be getting that. That's something more for me. And then
it's one of the most underrated Mario games is Super Mario 3D World. Like that shit flew really under the radar because a lot of people didn't have the Wii U, but now that people like fucking every other person on this planet has a Switch, that game's going to get a lot of publicity, and I think people really like it.
Isn't it the same Mario game that already got ported to the Switch?
No.
What's the one that's on there right now?
That's New Super Mario Brothers.
It's a different one.
Yeah, this is a totally different one.
I did play both of them though, but I will agree I like the Wii U version better. And then the token thing that got announced was obviously the Super Mario 3D All-Stars. Is that what it's called?
Stars, yes. So basically, what Nintendo's doing, and
Is ripping you
I'll
off
be
and
honest
stealing your
with you,
money.
I don't care. I mean, I shit my pants. I was so excited. So I know you're going to just shit all over, and that's fine. I don't know, it doesn't matter to me. But yeah, they're re-releasing a thing called Super Mario 3D All Stars on the Switch, and it is 3 games. It is $60, and it is a they changed the aspect ratio. They're so Super Mario 64, Super Mario Sunshine, and Super Mario Galaxy 1. Super Mario 64, the aspect ratio has been up to from 4:3 to 16:9, which makes sense. So it's technically like widescreen, or like, it's basic widescreen. But it is not remade in any way. Some people are getting pissy about that. They're like, why do I want to pay $60 for this game that looks exactly like it did 25 fucking years ago? And I mean, I don't really care. I wasn't expecting them to remaster the game fully. I mean, I'm sure it is remastered to some degree. It has to be. Sound's probably going to be better, whatever. But if they were fully remaking Super Mario 64 for the Switch, like with up-to-date graphics, it wouldn't be sold in a 3-pack. It would be sold by itself for $60. I know Nintendo well enough that that's something they would have done. And I remember seeing on Reddit somebody getting really shitty about it. And they're like, how is it that Nintendo can charge $60 for these 3 games and look at Super Mario 64 and it's the original graphics? And then you've got the people who completely remade all 3 of the Spyro games for the ground up. And I don't even think that was $60 when it came out. Mm-hmm. But that was a full remake of those games, and that's what they can do. But, in terms of a 3-pack, I think this is a pretty good deal for $60 because I've been dying to play Sunshine again for years because that's probably one of my favorites ever. So this is cool. Yeah, Super Mario Sunshine and Galaxy, the graphics are being updated to 720 or maybe 1080. And then the controls will be a little bit better, but no, I think it's a fucking great deal. And it's crazy because I love how Nintendo comes out and they say, hey, we got this new thing that everybody's going to want to fucking play. And also it comes out in 2 weeks. So, it comes out 2 fucking weeks from now on the 18th.
And it's a limited availability
on the, physically, they said they're doing a limited physical run. And then I did read something that said like, it will be maybe even digitally, it will only be a limited period of time. And then I don't know, they're going to vault it or some shit like that, which I think is really fucking stupid. Granted, I've got to pre-order it. So I'm in like Flynn. I don't really care. But I feel like that's a bad move because if they're just churning out dollars on this thing, why are they going to cut the cord and say, oh, sorry, you can't get it anymore? It's kind of fucking stupid.
I mean, after rewatching the trailer yesterday, I do think that Super Mario 64, okay, so, and this is going to be perfect lead into our actual topic of the day, which is why people are so upset about backwards compatibility with the PlayStation 5. Super Mario 64 doesn't look as bad as I thought it was going to look.
Mm-hmm.
And, one of the things we're going to talk about, which I think we can just go right into it, is, will backwards compatibility for PlayStation, obviously, will it take away the nostalgia of the game for you if it's not as good as it was when you remember playing it? Because to me, when I remember playing Super Mario 64, obviously I was like, this is fucking unreal. This is extremely difficult.
These graphics are so realistic. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Just thinking, as a kid, your mind's blown.
And it was just like, what? And I think that this game can do well because I think they are changing the camera on it.
I'm sure that's why. I don't know enough about it yet, and I don't know what grade of detail they went into, but I think it's not just going to be a one-to-one port of what it was. They have to update the controls and obviously make sure that it's going to work on the Switch. So if you're going to be taking all this time to make sure it's going to work, the camera's probably going to look better. It's probably going to be much more smooth. You're going to be able to do things more precisely because when you think about it, man, playing games like that on the fucking Nintendo 64 controller was weird as shit. Like you can't go back to playing GoldenEye now and have a good time. No. Like it's like impossibly bad. So they have to make some tweaks to just improve the general quality of life and make sure that it's going to, work well on what you're using. So,
and I think that that was probably the biggest thing that they needed to change. So for nostalgia reason, let's say you go back and play this game and it just does not live up. Is that going to ruin what the game was and how you remember the game being back when you were a kid?
For Super Mario 64, no, specifically, because I already know what I'm getting into. I'm not expecting this to be so improved that I'm going to be like, this. No, I know what it was. I know that looking back now, the graphics are terrible. The gameplay, for the time was very good. And I'm sure that the basic mechanics will still hold up. It was never bad, like getting around the world and doing your platforming. It was never overly difficult. But it's not going to ruin, I can say with this one, it's not going to ruin the nostalgia for me, because it's not even me wanting to feel like a kid again. It's just, I kind of want to play through that game again, because I just do like a lot of the worlds and I want to just play through it again. But I think that's, going into the bigger topic with the PlayStation backwards compatibility thing. Ubisoft leaked earlier in the week on one game. I don't remember what game it was, but on the page they said, some PlayStation 4 games will be compatible, limited compatibility of PlayStation 4 games on PS5. PlayStation 5 will not be compatible with PS1, PS2, and PS3. And lots of people freaked the fuck out immediately on that. And then Ubisoft took the post down, probably because Sony was like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
Yeah.
Maybe that is the truth. And Sony was like, no, we want to tell people that. Or maybe it was a mischaracterization and it was totally incorrect. We don't know. But taking that bit of news just as it is, a lot of people were freaking out, like on Reddit and IGN. Some people were saying, oh, this is the final nail in the coffin for Sony. Like, Sony's going to be dead. No, PlayStation 5 is dead on arrival. Sony's out the door. Like, they're dead, which makes no sense. This isn't going to fucking kill them. It's not going to kill a company for one decision like this.
I mean, because let's be honest for a second here. Like, I went out of my way and I bought an Xbox 360 because I'm trying to build like a little retro room in my house, right?
Sure.
Bought a bunch of games. I will probably never fucking play them. It's just going to be. It's just a library. It's a bookshelf holder. It's just something to put on my room. And maybe one day, like I said, if it's snowing out and the guys are hanging out, or Steph's bored or wants to do something, we're like, hey, let's go play an old game. We'll go in there. We'll play it. But like, you're not going to go, oh my God, I can't get a PlayStation 1 game. Let's be honest. No one's going back and playing fucking, Chrono Cross.
Well, that's why I was going to use the example. Like, you're not going out on day one spending, let's just say, fuck it, $600. Yeah. You're not spending $600 to get a PlayStation 5 to come home, hook that shit up on your massive television with your fucking Dolby surround system and hook it up to the internet that you got like gigabit internet to fucking pop Legend of Dragoon in your system and play that game. You're not doing that. You're not doing that.
And let's be honest, PlayStation 1 games, right? Okay, Resident Evil, it's been remade, you can play it. Resident Evil 2, it's been remade, you can play it. Resident Evil 3, remade. Spyro, remade. Crash, remade. I mean, the list goes on up. Final Fantasy 7, like, why would anybody go back and try to play a PlayStation 1 game? And not for nothing, you could probably say PlayStation 2 was maybe the worst. Not lying. PlayStation 3 was probably one of the shittiest libraries.
PS3 overall has a very poor library, but it is because the majority of that console's lifetime, it wasn't that good. It only got good in like the last, let's say,
Uncharted and
4 years. Exactly.
That started coming out. So I mean, no one's going to go back and play half that shit.
No, and it's funny because I texted, because Alex like texted me, or he messaged me, or I messaged him like the backwards compatibility thing, and he's like, "Oh man, that sucks." And I was like, "Be honest with me, like how many old generation games do you have lying around?" And I think he said he has like maybe a couple PS1 and like 2 or 3 PS2 games, and I was like, exactly, like what, like, and I understand, like, and I have my friend Dan, he's my old college roommate, he's one of my closest friends. He is a collector too. He has a crazy collection of old PS2 games, original like 360 games and everything.
And he's working.
Clearly. I had no idea. He's the kind of person where he collects a lot of games, but if he wants to go back and play them, he's playing them on the console that they were there for. Like if he wants to go play like an original Xbox game, he's playing it on a 360 just because it's easier, because that had that kind of good backwards compatibility. But like for me, I think I have, like the old CD cases where you unzip it and it's got the little, like, it's almost like the little flippy things. Like, I have a couple of old PS1 games that I've kept because they're very rare. That's like the one PS1 game where I was like, if I could actually play it on my PS5, I would. But because I know the graphics are sprites, so it looks,
What's the game?
It's called Lunar 2 Eternal Blue. It's a good old JRPG, high fantasy, wizards, dragons, and all that shit, but it's all sprites. And then, like, when the characters are talking, they have like hand-drawn animations. Like, very, very good game. I have fond memories of it. That's like the only thing that I could really think of where I'd be like, I want to go back and fucking play that, but I'm not buying a fucking PlayStation 5 to make that the first thing that I pop in my system and play that. It's just not the case.
Right. You could probably realistically find a fucking PlayStation 1, an old PlayStation 1 somewhere at a fucking...
Dude, you could walk your ass over to fucking Killscreen Games, get a fucking PlayStation 1 like mini or whatever the fuck it was called, and then I could pop that disc in and I could play that shit.
Right. Like, it's not necessary.
No, like, it's not.
Like you said, you're not buying a PlayStation 5. You're not buying an Xbox Series X for backwards compatibility. And if you are, you're a fucking idiot.
That's my other issue too, because I know that in truth there are people that will be doing this. They're buying this because they say, I need to have this one thing that I can play all my things on. But if you're really buying this brand new thing and saying, cool, like, I've got my PlayStation 5 and I've just bought, Miles Morales, I'm going to play that a little bit, but then when I'm not playing that, I want to go back and I want to play like Jack and Daxter 1 on my PS2 disc. I think that's just fucking silly. Like, it's good to have the option. I think that's for backwards compatibility. It's good to have the options. Like, if you were to say, for an Xbox, it is cool that you can just say, shit, fucking throw that original Halo 1 in there from the original Xbox into my brand new fucking Xbox Series X. It's cool to have the ability to do that. But most people, if they want to fucking play Halo 1 or Halo 2, they're playing the Master Chief Collection where it's remastered, has tons of quality of life improvements, the graphics look better, and it handles better. Correct. That's what you're doing. You're playing those. And that's why I think, remasters and remakes are fine. They have their own problems and they can be a little dodgy. But I think that's the better version of it. Just bring it back and polish it up for the modern. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's still going to hold up well. But,
or just like you said, go buy a fucking PlayStation 2, which you can probably buy at, like I said, J2 Games or Killscreen Games for $60. And play it the real way it's supposed to be played.
But then I guess that's me playing. Yeah, but that's just me, I guess, then playing devil's advocate, because there will be that person that says, why the fuck should I go spend $60 to get an original Xbox again when I could just play it on my new $600 thing? But it keeps coming back around. Like, why are you spending that much money then? Have all your old consoles and never spend it on the new.
Right, but if you're so gun-ho and, hey, I'm a collector and I like old games, you should probably have the original fucking system then, if you're going to consider yourself that. And if you're going to say, hey, I love PlayStation 1, I love it's the best system ever, blah, 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 but you don't have it, come on. Yeah. That's like being like, that's like saying like, hey, I'm a Batman fan, I've never read, Year One.
Yeah. Or The Long Halloween.
Like, or Hush or anything by Frank Miller, it's just like, it doesn't make sense. Or Daredevil, and you don't read Frank Miller's thing. So
you don't read Man Without Fear.
Yeah, like I have it somewhere down there. I don't know what the fuck it is. But it's like, don't say you're a video game collector type guy and you don't have the original system. Even if you have the system and it fucking sits there, have the system.
You still have it. Yes, that is, you are collecting that thing. Whereas, like you said at the beginning, you fancy yourself a collector of games. You are just collecting the game so that you could say, look at that shit on my shelf over there. I have that copy of that game, and that's cool. But you didn't buy that with the intention of getting a new console that you could play it on. If you want to play that original Super Nintendo cartridge, you're gonna pop that. You're gonna pop that shit into your fucking Super Nintendo, and you're gonna click that shit in, and you're gonna play it. That's how you're going to do it.
That would be like, that's like if you're like a comic collector, or if you're a comic collector and you get, the whole new, like the 3 Jokers that just came out. I went out and I bought all 5 variant covers. I have all 5. I have the original cover and all 4 variants. And I read them. I mean, I picked which one I wanted to break the seam in case, God forbid. I was like, which one is this probably not going to do the most? I took a gamble. I read it. I have them all boxed and boarded and hanging up on my wall. So it's like, I'm collecting them, but I'm also collecting these and reading them. I'm just going out and like, oh, everyone's collecting the new fucking Empire. Like, cool. It's not my thing. I'm not going to go out of my way and get Empire because I don't want to read it. So if you're going to be butthurt the fact that the games aren't backwards compatible on the PS5, and like you said, were they even that good? I'm not playing GTA 3 again. Are you kidding me?
That's my point. And so if I want to play GTA 3 again, guess what? Like a couple fucking years ago, they re-released in a pack GTA 3, GTA Vice City, and San Andreas for like $50. And it's just like, you're playing it with slightly tuned up graphics, but the controls are still really not that great. But if I want to play it, I'll play it. I'll re-download it on my fucking PS4 or PS5 and then just play it. But that's, but that's not backwards compatibility. That is a port. That is a game that is on a PS4 fucking system.
And the only
meant to be played.
The only GTA game that should probably be ported, which I would have really liked to have seen, but I don't think they did, was Chinatown Wars.
Chinatown Wars was fucking fun, dude. That was like the old top-down shit.
Yeah, but I don't think it's not on like PS4 or anything.
No, it literally was just a DS game, I think, and that was it. Like it's like the only time I ever lived. Oh, is it?
I would never play it. They should put it on Switch.
Yeah, that would be good. I would definitely play that then on the Switch. But it goes back to that one comment that I read on IGN. It was the top fucking comment, and it was somebody who was just an Xbox green-blooded fanboy who was like, this is it. This is the nail in the coffin for Sony. They're dead. The PlayStation's dead on arrival. No one's going to want to play it now. Says the person who's buying this new fucking refrigerator console to play like fucking, Conquer Live and Reloaded from fucking Xbox One on your fucking brand new console. Are you fucking kidding me? Yeah, like it's not that big of a deal. It shouldn't be a deal breaker for you. It absolutely shouldn't. If you have all those old games collected, then yes, just go have the original console to play it on.
They said the Series X is backwards compatible for everything.
I'm almost certain that is the case. I mean, you could probably Google that real quick, but that's been the case with every Xbox. When Xbox 360 was coming out, it took them a little while because obviously you have a huge library of shit. But you can get a 360 and you can pretty much pop any original Xbox game in it and it's good to go. But actually, I think years ago there was like some kind of update that like prevented it or something, and then they had to backpedal that shit and say, okay, actually no, we're taking that back and you can do it. But then when Xbox One came out, it was like, yeah, you can play all your old 360 games and you can play pretty much the majority of your PlayStation or your Xbox original games. But I would say, though, really, in truth, the majority of people are just not plugging their old discs back into this shit to play it on this fucking console. I'm not buying a PlayStation 5 so I can play PlayStation 1 games. I'm buying a PlayStation 5 so I can play PlayStation 5 games while still being able to play my PS4 games, which that for me is the deal breaker. If Sony comes out and officially says for whatever reason you cannot play your any PS4 games on a PS5, that's going to be bad news for them. But I don't think that will be the case.
I agree on that. Like, I have the article real fast from Forge, and it's pretty much saying that Xbox Series X, will be able to add HDR to older titles.
Which could be bad because I don't know how an old game is going to look with HDR.
See, that's this technique is handled by the platform itself. It allows us to enable HDR with zero impact to the game's performance, and we can also apply it to Xbox 360 and original Xbox titles developed almost 20 years ago. Yikes. Now, let's be honest for a second. From the Xbox was developed 20 years ago, running on a system with half of the power of this hardware. The game's probably not going to work, or it's going to explode.
It's not gonna. Well, HDR in a game from 20 years ago might be a very bad thing because I really don't know how you can add high dynamic range to a game that is predated by 20 years. Predates this technology by 20 years. It's going to look really fucking bad. There are plenty of times even now when you're playing a modern game that has HDR effect and you turn on HDR and it like black is so fucking black. It's just, It's like you're staring into the void. Like you're playing a horror game and you're like, I literally can't see shit.
I hate that. I don't like that. But like adding that ability is like putting like a fucking, like a NASCAR engine in my pickup truck. Like my pickup truck's what is this? Like, what is it doing? Like, why am I doing this? Like, it's not gonna like, it's not going to perform. My truck is not going to fucking go as fast as NASCAR with a NASCAR engine. So what is this doing to the game?
You'll put your foot to the floor and the fucking your whole chassis is going to come off your car because it's going to be moving too quickly.
So I'm curious that, yeah, that's great. Their advertising is saying blah, 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 Xbox Series X is getting this. Did they test any of these games? Did they go through every Xbox game library?
Well, that's the thing is when you do that, yeah, it's like you have to play test it to make sure it's actually going to work. You can't just be like, yeah, this will be fine, because then you get people are like, dude, I keep trying to play this game and it keeps crashing my system and it bricked mine and whatever. Like, no, you have to play test the shit out of it. So yeah, and that's a lot of shit to go back to. You have 2 generations worth of shit to make sure it was going to work on this fucking, I'm sorry, 3 generations worth of shit to make sure that it's going to work on this new fucking thing.
Yeah. And if you think about
it's like time consuming.
Obviously the PlayStation 4 games will hold up well. The PlayStation 3 games should hold up well. It's the point of PS2 and PS1 where it gets iffy. And maybe that's the reason why Nintendo couldn't fix, not fix, but like upgrade, Mario 64. Maybe they're just like, look, this for us to redo this would have just been like we might as well just made it a whole new game.
Well, that's my point. Is if at that point it's like you're looking at the cost, you go, well, we could tweak this slightly so that it will work comfortably on this new system, or we just have to start from the fucking ground up and redo this entire game, and then at which point it would be released by itself and it would be $60. And I'm sure if they said, yeah, we're going to take Super Mario Odyssey's engine and remake Super Mario 64, people would be like, oh, fuck, that's crazy. Like they did, Spyro did a really good job with their remakes.
Yes.
But it would just be a totally separate entity. It wouldn't be released in this 3-pack of fucking things. Like, I feel like they've got other stuff that they're working on. They're probably already working on the next straight up Mario Odyssey type game like that. They're already into development on that. It wouldn't surprise me. But with PlayStation, though, I'm just, and I guess it kind of makes me a hypocrite because I'm saying, I'm not getting a PS5 to go back and play PS1 games, but I'm getting a PS5 in the hopes that I can play a lot of my old PS4 games just with better performance, because that is to be expected, though. That's what they've said, that if you, with your backwards compatibility of a PS4 game, it will play better. It will look slightly better. It will, the processing speed, things will look better. You won't have as much graphical issues, whatever. But all the games that from PS4 that I want to go back and play, all the developers are coming out and saying, hey, we're going to re-release it on PS5, like a PS5 specific version, and it's going to be tuned up and you don't have to spend any extra money on it. Like with the news the other day, the biggest news ever, The Witcher 3 is being ported over, the complete edition, to PS5. Awesome. I don't have to spend any money on that. And even if I ended up having to, I would still spend the money to do that again.
You're gonna buy it again?
Well, I don't think I have to, because they said, it's The Witcher 3 Complete Edition is being ported over. If you already have The Witcher 3 Complete, you don't have to spend any money. You get the PS5 version. I don't have The Witcher 3 Complete. I have The Witcher 3 and I have the 2 DLCs, because this both, that just when they came out. My assumption is that CD Projekt Red will say, if you own the game and both of the DLCs, you technically would own the complete Witcher 3 thing. But if they said, no, you have to specifically own The Witcher 3 Complete to do it, there's 2 ways to do that. Either get the specific PS5 version and spend $60 or $70 on it, which I would 100%, or I just get the PS4 version at Christmas where it'll be on sale for like fucking $10, and then I get a free deal. I
don't think they're going to do that. I think that they're probably thinking the same thing you just said. Like, there's someone.
They're really cool. CD Projekt Red is not an asshole like that. They've already said with Cyberpunk, they're like, you get Cyberpunk, you get the PS5 version of it for free. You get it. They're cool like that.
Cyberpunk is coming up slowly.
Couple months, but
again, and after Mafia comes out, this month at the end of September.
It's the 25th or 28th, I think. It's like the last Friday of September, yeah.
Which is weird that Kingdom of Amalur is being released on a Tuesday. But what's like fashion. Yeah, it is. You're right. What is after Mafia, what's next? Is it Cyberpunk?
In terms of big games, yeah, I have another game that's coming out towards the end of September that I want to play. I'm not 100% sure. I need to get it right when it comes out, but it's by a developer. It's by Atlas publishes it, but the developer is called Vanillaware. They made Dragon's Crown. They made Odin Sphere. Their new game is coming out. That's been out in Japan for like a year and a half, and it's finally coming stateside. And I do want to play it, but I don't know if I need to rush out right away and get it.
What's it called?
So it's called 13 Sentinels. And it's cool because it's like it takes place in like 1980s Japan, and it's awesome because like the combat of it is like a top-down isometric grid based where your characters are fighting like kaiju in like giant mech suits and shit like that. They're always very visually appealing games, but I don't know if it's a Cameron type game. I'll just say that.
Yeah, it doesn't really look like a Cameron type game.
But that's really it though. Like in terms of like big releases.
There is that other game coming out that was on the fuck was the name of it? It was for, we talked about it last week before we wrap up. Not last week, maybe a couple weeks ago. It was for GameCube. It was the shooter where it's like hand drawn.
That is the 13.
Is it 13? I thought it was
13.
I think that comes out. The game, I think that comes out. When does that come out? That's this year too.
As long as it don't get pushed back.
It's X11. November 10th.
X111, Cameron.
Yeah.
Yes, it's 13.
Yeah. Sorry.
13.
Not that game is by any means obviously massive, but the game does look good, and I like I actually like the hand drawn the way it looks. I think it's very comic booky. Looks fun. I will probably pick that up because I was able to save some money not buying Marvel's Avengers.
Ooh, yeah, that's another thing we can. I don't think that's something we should have a topic or like a discussion on for at least a few more weeks. We got to let that game simmer a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like I said,
reviews are largely mixed.
Yeah, that's an understatement. Like I've seen 6 and I've seen 9. It's like what?
Yeah, it's people. Well, it's like the people that I think that a lot of these other big reviews where they're giving it like top marks are deep in the pockets of Square Enix, or they're just getting that promotional money because a lot, like I think Carrick, ACG, he's like, the levels are really bland. It's not like, it's very cookie cutter, and the battle passes are really pissing a lot of people off. Like you have to pay $10 for like every fucking extra character or some shit like that.
That's bullshit. And all I hear about, and I guess I'm going to spoil this because everybody else seems to spoil it. Everyone's like, yo, Captain America is the best to play as. Well, he's supposed to be dead, so all right.
Well, that was the funny thing. I'm watching fucking Carrick's review of it, and I see this level, and it's like this snowy place, and he's playing in a costume where it's like, I think it's like when Captain America was made Captain America, and he's got all these things all over his body, and I'm like, isn't that fucker dead? No, I said like weeks and weeks ago, I was like with the beta, I said he's definitely not dead. When that in the trailer where the fucking helicarrier goes down, I was like, he's definitely not dead. Like he got taken captive, and maybe that's why he had all those things all over him. Maybe they took him captive and they were trying to brainwash and make him a new Winter Soldier. But it's like there's no way Captain America's fucking dead, and he's only in this game for 10 minutes, and then that's it. There's no Captain America. Period.
I heard he's really good to play as.
He plays like Batman. His combat it's just Batman. It's like Arkham Batman. So he handles probably one of the best in the beta. And then Black Widow's Batman with guns.
I heard Black Widow's really fun to play as too.
She's just got guns. It's crazy though. When you see her shooting, she's got these massive like Desert Eagle guns that she's just shooting.
So
like
it's like it's like Lara Croft. Yep.
It's exactly
100%. I mean, look, that game. That's a game for me that if I get that game, it's going to be like when it's like you said, it's discounted. But I want
deep sale,
and I want all the characters already.
Well, that's why I will wait for deep sale, Avengers Complete, where it's like $30 or less, and I'm getting almost everything, if not everything, at that point that's released. But I'm definitely not spending $60 on that shit right now.
Because
no dice.
And even the game, even the characters they've announced. Okay, so PlayStation obviously real fast again before we wrap up here. PlayStation's obviously getting Spider-Man, which makes sense because Sony owns the Spider-Man technically. But then they announced Hawkeye and Kate Bishop. Who, like, what? You're making the same.
Well, they announced Hawkeye like months ago. Yeah, and then Kate Bishop shows up, and it's like, but I think it's going to be funny because is Kate Bishop really her own character and her own moveset, or is it just going to be a different skin for Hawkeye?
But here's the thing. Apparently, Kate Bishop is coming first because her story leads into Hawkeye.
that doesn't make any sense. You'd think it would be the other way around. That his story, he's playing, but then like, maybe he dies in the story, and then Kate Bishop takes over.
Yes, I don't know. I mean,
again, I know Ant-Man is going to be a character. Like I know Pym's coming in, but then like, who else? Who else are we going to get? Because you're not. Punisher? Yeah, you're not throwing in the X-Men. You know, we're not going like I know they're not part of the Avengers, but it's like what other how many characters are you really going to throw in Black Panther? I think that would be fun. Yeah, that'd be great. Doctor Strange, but really I don't know. I wanted this game to be good, and it's fucking not. Winter Soldier would be cool, but it would probably just be a Captain America skin
with a machine gun. With
a machine gun and a big metal arm.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
We'll talk about it more at length, though, in a couple weeks or a month or two 100%. When they've really settled into that world.
Yeah.
But not a day one by, obviously.
No, but anyway, once again, this is Why Am I Nerd presents Alpha Beta Gold, where you can follow us on Instagram at Why Am I Nerd Official, Facebook.com/Why Am I Nerd, and listen to new episodes every Monday on YouTube and your favorite podcast service. Once again, I'm Kevin James. It's just Matt.
That's just me.